Everybody is here? How many? 8, 6, 7. All is there. Time 24/7 non-stop without you telling anything, right? It keeps on serving you from day one to the last day. And it's only because of the heart that we live, right? And otherwise also, you have to tell them to start generating. Otherwise also, if there is no love, heart is also the seat of love. You studied, right? You studied Chitta, etc. By now I'm sure you know. So then also life is like a machine. Even if this physical heart is there, but there is no love in the heart. That heart is poetic heart. And there is physical heart and then there is a poetic heart. And the psychological heart. So that is also important, because if that is not there, then you live like a machine. The body can function. And the heart is beating, supplying blood. So life has meaning when we have a nice heart, soft heart as they say, a heart full of love and affection. That's what we all look for. But that has to be studied. So this Vrindavan is the heart, not just the physical heart, but this is the spiritual heart of the universe. Because this is the abode of God Himself. Heart is the place where God lives. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishtaha matta smritir jnanam apohanam. Vedascha sarvairahameva vedya vedantkrit veda vidaschaham. Very nice statement, simple but very deep. So he says that I am situated in everyone's heart. Because if He is not in our heart, we would not feel like living. The very reason we live and we desire to live, everybody desires to live. Right? Even when we get old, sick, or even we are frustrated, still we have a desire to live. So that is because the God is present there, who is life, and He is the source of love. But when we are not aware of Him, which is the case with most of us, then we get into trouble. Because we have to be aware of something. We have consciousness, right? Everybody agrees that we have consciousness. So this consciousness, what does consciousness mean? What does it mean? You all study Ayurveda, right? So, what does it mean, consciousness?
Be aware.
So, consciousness has the quality to be aware. If somebody touches you, then you are aware that somebody touched me. But if someone touches a dead body, the body is not aware because there is no consciousness. Somebody becomes unconscious, right? When you touch him, he does not know. Because consciousness is there, but it has been pulled in from body and senses. It goes into the subtle body. That's what is called unconscious. The person has not actually become unconscious externally. Internally is still conscious. So consciousness is always aware. That's its basic characteristic. So if we are not aware of God, then we become aware of matter. Because there are only two things, Purusha and Prakriti. Right? So you can either be aware of the Purusha or you can be aware of the Prakriti. So people love Prakriti. And they forget the Purusha. But without Purusha, Prakriti is also helpless. Goes with the combination of both. So there is Purusha and then there is a Purushottama, Uttam Purusha or Supreme Person. We are also Purushas. And then beyond us, beyond Prakriti and Purusha, there is Purushottama, Supreme Person. That is called Mahapurusha. Mahapurusha or Purushottama, that is what we call God. Because if there are so many Purushas and there is Prakriti, you need somebody above that to handle it, right? It's like if there is a company or there is a society, organization, there are many people, you need somebody on the top who can keep everyone together and make them function for one purpose. So like that, all the people may say that there is no God. God is there. Otherwise the universe will not function, because universe is one unit. It functions as one unit because there is one universal person or supreme person beyond it. So if it is universe, then it must have a purpose. It is called teleology. So some philosophers, they said that life has no purpose. And still they are philosophers. If life has no purpose, then why do we need philosophy? Somebody says that life has no purpose, then why you have to even tell me that? What is the purpose? So even when we speak, there is a purpose. Nobody speaks without purpose. So we want to have a purpose in our own life, but then we say that the universe has no purpose. That's very strange. In your own personal life, in your own family, in your own house, you want to have a purpose. Some purpose is there, right? But this whole thing of which we are part has no purpose. So that is illogical. It's not supported by logic. Because if there is no purpose, then there is no need to follow any rules. And why shall we be moralists? Why shall we have ethics? No, but we can feel that life seems to have some purpose. Whether we know it or we don't know it, but we function with some aim. Even those people who, if you ask them what is the purpose of life, they may say, I don't know. But still they have some aim in their life, some goal, some purpose they are trying to achieve. Everybody is trying to achieve something. You're studying Ayurveda, you want to achieve something. Whether it is good health or you want to help others. So there that means there is some purpose. So if all of us have some purpose in our life, then together combined, why this will not have purpose? So purpose is there because there is ultimately somebody beyond. If you build something, you don't build it just like that. You have something in your mind, you want to achieve something, or you want to express your energy. You may paint or you may sing. So you may not try to achieve anything by it, just an expression of your energy, your love, your feelings or your emotions. Sometimes people become angry and they break things. Right? Have you done that? So you're not trying to achieve anything by that. Even if you don't break, at least you kick something or you hit somebody. So you're not trying to achieve something, you're just expressing your emotion. So that's why it is called emotion, because it brings some motion. It is emotion. These days people are fond of e-things. So emotion is also emotion. That makes you move. So that is an expression of your inner feelings. So like that, this universe is also has a purpose. It is an expression of God's love. So it is because of love. Anandadhi khalu imani bhutani jayante. In the Upanishad it is said that the living beings, they have sprung from Ananda, from bliss, from love. Because there are two ways people create. One is we create when we want to gain something. We want to achieve something, we want to reach somewhere. We have some need. So we may create, we may build a house, build some gadgets. We want to make money, so we may create a firm, industry, company. And there is another way of creating, and that is when you create out of happiness, which is just an expression of your happiness. So God is not in need of anything. So He creates out of love, out of ananda. Mattasya nartanam. It's like when somebody is very happy, starts dancing out of joy, right? So one is that you dance to attain joy. Another is that you dance out of joy. And there are two ways of dancing. So this is a manifestation of His joy. He is very joyous. And therefore He manifests this. Then of course the question comes, if it has come out of joy, then why people are not happy? Right? Because we see a lot of suffering in this world, a lot of anxiety, stress, diseases, sickness, quarrels, wars. Right? So, disharmony among family members, among neighbors, nations, states. So why is that? So that is caused by us. Because God gives us freedom. If He would have not given us freedom, then nothing will go wrong. And everything will function as He wants. But He gives us freedom so that we can act, we can make choices. And freedom is basically only of one thing. Although we think we have freedom of doing many things, but really The real freedom is whether you want to be aware of Prakriti or you want to be aware of Mahapurusha. That's all. So he gives us the freedom so that we can be aware of God, of Him. Then life will be one way. And if we choose not to be aware of Him and just be aware of the Prakriti, then life is what it is. So this is the difference between spiritual life and material life. Material life means being aware of matter, and spiritual life means being aware of the spiritual being aware of our Atma, our self, and Paramatma, the Supreme Self, the immanent being. So he has given us this choice, and why he has given this choice? Because in love there has to be freedom. You cannot force someone to love you. That person has to make a decision himself or herself that I want to love this person. If the person has no choice, then that is not love. So because he wants that we love, then he gives the freedom, but we misuse that freedom not to love, but to hate. Although we need love, but all we do is just dislike. We have hatred, we have anger, we have jealousy, we have envy. These are all children of the same thing. And then we struggle with these things. And then of course along with that comes the outcome of those behaviors, because the law of karma is there. So if we choose to follow path A, then there is one type of result. You reach one destination. If you choose to follow path B, then you reach another destination. Another type of result. So the cause of suffering is not God. Many times people blame God that God is making us suffer. He is not making us suffer. He wants us to be happy with Him because He is happy. But for that we have to make the choice whether we want to be happy or we want to suffer. So we choose to suffer. Usually people learn from their mistakes. Right? If you burn your finger in fire, then you don't want to put it again. But the general observation is that most people don't learn from their mistakes. They keep on repeating the same mistake again and again. There are very few people who learn from their mistakes. Very few. It's very rare. So why is this? This is because our awareness is just steeped into matter and we don't stop to think. We don't take few moments to think that what is going wrong in my life. I want to be happy, I want to be peaceful, I want to be stress-free. And why that does not happen? So we don't consider that. If I do some business and I fail, then I go to a consultant, or I myself think what went wrong. I may read books. But about our own life, we never do that. So we continue doing the same thing. We had a boyfriend, girlfriend, it didn't work out, okay, now try another one. Same thing happens, then try another one. So we keep on doing the same thing, and it's not only in this life, next life, and the past lives, we have been doing the same things. So we don't learn. So some rare people, some fortunate souls, they learn and then they get out of it. So that is the message of God. If you read Bhagavad Gita or you read Upanishads, Puranas, Vedas, and that is the only message which God is giving, Krishna is giving in Bhagavad Gita. He explains everything clearly. When Bhagavad Gita begins, and Arjuna sees all his relatives. So relatives means all my attachments. So he said, look at these people. So we have our material attachments and we become conditioned by them. And then we think, I will be free. So how can you be free and conditioned at the same time? You have to choose whether you want freedom or you want conditioning. You tie the leg of a bird with a thread and then think that the bird is going to also fly freely. It will not happen. Because the leg is tied with the rope. So in India, we have these parrots, and people keep pet parrots. You know how they catch them? How they catch them is very simple. And they tie a rope, and on that they tie one wooden piece and put something for eating. So the parrot comes and sits on the wooden piece, and the wooden piece is tied in such a way that as soon as the parrot sits on it, the piece will flip. So that parrot turns upside down. So he holds with his claws wood strongly, and then it flips down. So now his head is down and his legs are up. And then he is struggling to hold himself, but he will not leave it. Because he thinks, if I leave, I am going to fall down. So then the guy comes and catches him. So like that, we have made our own conditioning. We are holding on to it. It's not that the wood is holding him. The wood is not holding the parrot. The parrot is holding the wood. So nobody actually holds us, we hold them. Money does not hold you. You hold the money. If you lose money, money is not going to cry, oh, where is Holly? Where is my master? You are the one who are going to cry. So we are the one who hook on to that. And then we become conditioned by that. And then we are unable to fly into the vast sky. So then we try to think how I have to now adjust myself, how I have to live here. And of course, as I said, that there is a law of karma. Then the man comes and catches him and puts him in the cage. And then he forgets that he can even fly outside. Even after some time you open the cage, he will go around and come inside back. Cannot fly out anymore. He becomes so conditioned. So our attachments, they hold us like this. And we continue the same story again and again. So human story is not something very big. It's very simple. Everybody has few attachments. And there is a small mind inside this body, and this mind has got those few attachments inside, and these things remain stuck in the head, and it cannot think beyond that. It becomes so conditioned. Like if you put on glasses in front of your eyes, green glasses, so everything looks green. Not that everything has become green. If you remove the glasses, then you can see the color as it is. But because we have put that, this is conditioning. Because we see everything through our mind, right? It's like externally we see the objects through our eyes. And if I put the glass in front of my eyes permanently, you put contact lens inside and they have color, and you will see everything colored. You will never know that you are conditioned, right? Imagine that as soon as the children are born, they are fitted with some green colored contact lenses, and they never know, permanent contact lenses. So they will see through that all the time, and they have never seen without it, so they will believe that this is how it is. And suppose everybody is like that, so everybody is going to think it is green, and someone comes from outside who does not have the contact and he says actually it's not green, it's yellow, then you will think this guy is a fool. And he will try to teach to you that no, it's not. So then you say that this fellow is too much nonsense. How can we be wrong? It's democracy. And in democracy, if more people vote for it, then that becomes the truth. Just yesterday I was reading that joke. Remember the joke? And the politician is like a tortoise on the pole. There's a farmer, he went to see a doctor. And then the farmer started saying that the politician is like a tortoise on a fence. So he says, what do you think? So then he starts explaining. He says, first of all, the tortoise, when there's somebody put him there, some idiot. And he doesn't know what to do there. He has no purpose there. He is not qualified to be there, but still is there. So that's what a politician is. And then those who put him there, they also start honoring him, that he is powerful, he is higher than us. So that's what happens to our mind, that we see things like this, and if someone comes and tells you that it's not this way, then you start blaming that person, because we are more. How is it that so many people can be wrong and only one person can be right? So that's why they crucified Jesus. How is that Jesus can be right and all of us are wrong? That's not possible. So unfortunately that is the situation, that people in general are conditioned by their own attachments. And if someone is not conditioned and tries to teach them, then he is in big trouble. Because nobody likes, then you become attached to your things so much that someone tries to cut your attachment. Then either you start crying like a baby, or you start fighting for it. But you never know the truth unless you get rid of this conditioning. So the point I was making is about consciousness, about awareness. That awareness can be either directed towards matter, or it can be directed towards the Supreme Spirit, Supreme Consciousness. And the result of these two is different. So this is the basic freedom we have. People talk of freedom. There is no other freedom. Because choosing between one type of attachment and another type of attachment is not freedom. Whether I choose dark green glass or dark yellow glass or dark blue glass, that is not the choice. The choice is whether I have glass or no glass in front of my eyes. So mostly people are only making choices between different colors and not that getting rid of the colors. And therefore they are unable to see the reality, the truth as it is. And that is the cause of all problems. So therefore God personally comes to teach us, give us knowledge, give us light in the form of Veda, in the form of Ayurveda. And the purpose of Ayurveda is also to have good health, right? And good health means to balance. So balance mind, balance fires, doshas, some dosha, some administra, some dhatu malakriya. Prasanna atmendriya mana swastha itya vidhiyate. Right? So prasanna atmendriya, who has that? How to get prasanna atma? That will not come by just taking some balanced diet. For that you have to have the philosophy, spirituality. So that is the meaning. The real health will come then. Otherwise there is no prasanna atmendriya. Even if you have some dosha and some agni and some dhatu and some mala, kriya, everything, still you will feel that you are not happy. Because even those who have good health, Mr. Universe, Miss Universe, they are also not happy. Because their minds are not balanced. Because they are also working only for matter. And matter is changing. Today somebody is Mr. Universe or Miss Universe. And next year somebody else becomes, and the light is not focused on that person anymore. She has to give her crown to somebody else. And how does it feel? You have the crown for a whole year, and then you give it to somebody. You don't feel so great. But the real crown is the inner, the real beauty is the inner beauty. Because the bodily beauty is not going to last anyway. How long will you sustain it? So the real beauty is the inner beauty. Sadanena panirna tu kankanena vibhati kaya karuna paranam. So the beauty is that, the beauty of the heart. And that is love. So, coming back to my original point, that this Vrindavan, this is the heart of the universe, because this is where Krishna lived 5,200 years ago. And now he is still living here, but not visible to everybody. If you remove your conditioning, then you can see him still here. If we remove the glass of our attachment, then with the pure eyes you can see him. It's like on the battlefield, he said to Arjuna that you cannot see me with these eyes, my universal form. I have to give you Divyam dadamite chakshu. I give you divine eyes. And then he gave, and then Arjuna was able to see. So with our present eyes, which only look for objects of sense pleasure, we cannot see Krishna, who is beyond this. When we will have the eyes of love, then you can see Krishna here itself. He is not gone anywhere, he lives here, but can be seen only with love. So bhaktya mama vijanati yavanyasyasmi tattvata. Tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. He says that I can only be known by love, not by any amount of logic or scientific knowledge or any other type of means. through love he can be known. So this is what he showed here. See this painting here. So this painting is very important because he is showing his love, his loving relationship with his devotees. These girls around him, these are all his devotees who love him. So we can also have similar love for him, and then only we become fulfilled, we become perfect, our life becomes transformed. So this is what he taught by his personal example. Because we actually have no idea what love is. We talk about love. We hear about it, we read about it, we watch movies, but actually we don't have an idea about it. What is true love, unconditional love, pure love, love without any strings attached, love which is not some kind of business deal. So that Krishna manifested here and he depicted. So it is only because of him that we can know what love is, otherwise we will never know even what is love. Because unless we become free from our conditioning, how can we know what is love? With the conditioned mind, we cannot understand it. Just like with the green glass, you cannot see the white object as white. You look at a white paper, it will look greenish with the green glass. So when we become free from our conditioning, then we will understand what is pure love, and then we will become so joyful without doing anything. Because love is joy. And that is our fundamental need, our fundamental requirement, desire. That is actually the purpose of all our pursuits. Whether you make money or you build house or whatever you do, ultimately you are looking for that love. And if love is not there, then nothing actually makes sense. Everything looks empty without love. You can have any amount of money, without love cannot make you happy, because the soul is hankering for love. So you cannot fill it up with money. Any amount of money is not going to fill it up. Because matter cannot touch it. So our inner desire is only for love, love for God, love, unconditional love. And that is being taught or was taught by Krishna. And this is the place of that love. So you will still have some glimpses of it if you go around or meet people or if you spend some time in Vrindavan. You hear the stories of love, songs of love, and then you feel inspired that I also want to be like that. So that is the purpose of coming to Vrindavan, to understand the real call of the heart. Right? So is it making sense? Yes? So you have any question?
So since unconditional love is that for God, most of the students who we're with are in committed love relationships, so in marriages or committed partnerships. So how does that play out to
Limited relation is fine, but it should be unconditional. You can have your partner. The gopis were also married, but still they loved Krishna. Because everybody is a manifestation of God. Whether it is your partner, your parents, your friends, co-workers, they are all manifestation of that one person only. So when you have that feeling of unconditional love towards God, then you love actually every being. That's why all the great personalities, they were full of love for everybody. When we say love for God, it does not mean just love one person somewhere. God is unlimited. God is vast. So you love everything. You love His creation, you love animals, you love nature, you love your partner. Because what else can you do? It's like when you are angry, you get angry at everybody. Even if your child comes and you may be angry at somebody, you may even scold him or her. Because you are just full of that anger now. You may kick your car, bang the door. The poor door has not done anything. So when that love springs inside, then it flows to everybody. But first that love has to be understood and acquired, and first you have to, of course, agree that yes, I want love. There are people who don't want love. They are scared of it. Love is also scary, because you think now I have to give up all my attachments. What about my attachments? Because you become attached to the glass. So, my God, I have been having this for the last 40 years and now you are saying I have to give it up. How is that? You cannot live without it. So we have this nature. It is called sadistic nature. That we love to suffer. If we don't suffer, we think something is wrong. There must be something wrong. Why am I not suffering? Did something go wrong? So we get used to it. Just like some people, they get used to some noise. They cannot sleep without that. You may have heard the story of a fisher lady. You have seen fisher men who catch fish? Especially in India, if you go and then they take this fish out there, spreading them on the beach, making them dry, and the whole thing smells of fish. And if you go to their house, it's all fish smell. So you may not tolerate it, but they get used to it. If not used to it, they become conditioned by it. And conditioned by it means that now they cannot live without it. If they don't have the fish smell, then they miss it. They think that something is missing. So there was this fisher lady once. She went to sell fish. So in India, people go around with a basket on their head, they sell door to door. And then she went a little far away to another village where there was one of her relatives. And she sold all her fish. And she thought, it's too late, I can spend the night here. So she stayed there, but at night she could not fall asleep. So the friend, her relative, asked that, what is wrong? Why you are just turning your sides? Why don't you sleep? He said, I cannot fall asleep. Says, what is wrong? He says, because I don't get this fish smell. So then she got an idea. He said, okay, you have this basket, you throw some water on it, and the smell will come out. Like if there is some earth or sand, it becomes some watery, then the smell comes. So then she did that, and then she could fall asleep. So we become conditioned like that. Anything. So we become also conditioned to suffering. And if you don't get, therefore, every once in a while the partners have to fight. Right? So every week, every 10 days, depending on how much they can take. So there has to be some argument, some quarrel, then they come back, then they start again, and again after a few days, because they cannot live without it. Just like you eat sweets, you cannot eat sweet all the time. So you also have something little pungent, sour taste. So some spices. So like that we get used to that. And if there is no spice at all in the food, then we say this food has no taste. It has absolutely no taste. What is this? So food has taste, but not our taste. So here in India people are used to eat chilies. So if they don't get chili, then they think the food have no taste. In the West, people don't eat chilies. We give them chili. They say, my God, I'm burning. What is this? So this is conditioning. So we also get conditioned like that. And then we don't see the truth, the reality, the love. So people are also conditioned for suffering. So in fact, it may sound strange to think like this. And you may think, how is that possible? We all want love, we all want happiness. But actually, if we analyze, we create situations so that we get into trouble. And some people, of course, live on troubles only. If there are no fights, no quarrels, what the lawyers will do? What will happen to the courts? So they survive on that. That's their life. Once there was a priest, he was invited in a village to go and give a talk. So when he was going, he saw that on the side of the road, there was somebody crying for help, help me out from this ditch, I have fallen in it. So he, being a priest, nice man, he got up, he was going on a bicycle, Indian style. So he got off his bicycle, he saw, and then he realized that the guy who is fallen in the ditch is the Lucifer. So the troublemaker. So when he saw this, he said, oh, I don't want to help him. So he started walking away. So then Lucifer said, what happened? Why don't you help me? So he says, no, I don't want to help you. So he says, why? He says, because you are my enemy. So he says, no, I am not your enemy. Your business runs because of me. If I am not there, what will you preach? To whom will you preach? And what will you do? Your church will close. So I am the most important person for you. So you better help me. So then the priest realized that actually he makes sense. So therefore politicians also, they thrive on troubles. If there is no trouble, they will make sure that some trouble is there. Because if there is no trouble, who cares for them? So the point I am making is that similarly, it is not only politicians or other things, but our mind gets used to it. It does not like to be still. If I ask you, come on, sit down peaceful, still, then you cannot do that. After some time you say, no, but what is this? I have to do something. So you have to get up and do something and get into trouble. You can actually sit peacefully. So here in Vrindavan we have a lot of monkeys. You may have seen them, if not you will see them tomorrow. And these monkeys, they cannot sit quietly. They are so mischievous and destructive. They just take fun in destroying things, running around. If nothing else, they start fighting with each other. And they really get into it. So this is their enjoyment. Shaking things, tearing apart. We have to cover our whole garden here, otherwise they will uproot everything. You could not get even one flower here. So now they go on the roof, they shake it. And wherever they can find a little hole, they would like to get inside. So this is not only monkeys, this is how our mind is. Our mind is like a monkey. Cannot sit quietly. You ask anyone to sit quietly, he says, oh, I'm bored. So that's the nature. This is the conditioning. But actually our happiness will come if mind is very quiet and there are no unnecessary thoughts. That's prasannatmendriya mana swastha iti abhidhiyate. That's the very definition of swastha. So that prasannatmendriya, that will not happen if the mind is not peaceful. And if mind is not peaceful, there is no happiness. Krishna says, ashantasya kutaha sukham. So if your mind is ashanta, then where is the happiness? It's not possible. So this conditioning, we should try to get rid of it. And of course, when we are conditioned, then with the conditioned mind, we cannot know the conditioning. It's very difficult to analyze your own mind with your own conditioned mind. That's why we need a teacher. It's like with your own eyes, you cannot see your own eyes. You cannot see your eyebrows, your eyelids. They are very closed. So like that, it's difficult to know our own problems. So that's why God comes, Krishna comes, He speaks. Teachers come, they speak. So that is the importance. So this is also the importance of Vrindavan. It's a place where there are many ashrams, many temples. We will see some of them tomorrow. So these are places of learning. Or at least they are supposed to be, and they used to be like this. Now things are changing at a very rapid rate. But originally these were the places where people could go and find peace, happiness, knowledge, wisdom. Wise people lived here. So you could go and take their association, hear from them, and apply it in your life. That was the purpose of holy places like Vrindavan. So it still goes on, but it has become diluted, I must say. Okay? Any other question? Can I have your dinner now? Thank you. क्या इंटरनेट चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा?
एक बार चेक कर